Hey guys, in this video we're going to be taking a look at the Eachine MC02. This is an all-in-one camera VTX FPV system, and they made some improvements and added a lot of additional features to this version compared to the older version, which was actually not that old, the MC01 here. And just for size comparison, you can see that it's gotten taller than the MC01 is on the left here. Let's see, and width-wise, it's about the same width, I believe. Yeah. So obviously you can tell that the camera lenses are different. The MC01, the lens is much smaller, and on the O2, the lens is a lot bigger and has a different focal length. And as you can see here in the side profile, the lens sticks out quite a bit more. Also, the O2 is quite a bit heavier as well. We'll get to the weight there in a little bit. The O2 now has a microphone in the front here, so we can capture audio, and I don't believe the O1 has a microphone. I'm pretty sure that it doesn't. The antennas are pretty similar. I think they're both 4-leaf, right-hand circular polarized, nickel-plated antennas here with the same type of coax. It's the flexibility is approximately the same. It does tend to go back to the upright position, but it does have some give, which is good for crashes. But it would probably still be a good idea to put some hot glue there in the around where all the lobes come together, because some of these solder joints will break in a crash. So just something to keep in mind to help keep these lobes together in a crash. So let's take a closer look at what they've done on the O2. They've moved the connector to the side instead of coming out of the bottom, which is better for mounting. So you have a nice flat surface for mounting. So you now have a bunch of wires coming out of this connector here. Obviously you have the red and black for your power, and white is a PWM signal, probably for changing channels from your transmitter. I'm not 100% sure, that it's not documented here. But you could use this connector to plug it into your receiver. It will power from 4.8 to, what was it, 28 volts or 24 volts? Yeah, 26 volts. So definitely could use a receiver to power this. Now, if your receiver does drop below 4.8 volts, then you might lose video, so you might want to be aware of that. However, this does come with a voltage booster, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. In addition, on the bottom of this cable, you have a video in and video out connector. So this has the ability to connect an OSD if you want, which is nice. It's the first one I've seen over these all-in-ones where you can insert an OSD in the middle of the video signal. That could come in handy. In addition to the connector that is on here, you can take this off, and it comes with a secondary connector with all the same wires, power, PWM, and video in and video out. There's no connector on the end of the power wires here, and that's so that you could use these provided balance plugs here, and it's pretty much everything from 2S to 6S is provided. So I'm probably going to use the 3S one, because I'm going to be using this on a plane. Where's the 3S one? Here's the 3S one here. And so you would just solder on the red and the black wires from this connector onto the outside pins of this balance lead or balance plug, and then you plug in your balance lead from your 3S or whatever battery you have into here to provide power to the camera. And since it has a wide voltage range, it can take 2S to probably a 6S battery, no problem. Now, if you want to use this with, say, something that's going to be running on a 1S battery, you're going to need this this voltage step up here to increase the voltage to the 4.8 volts, the minimum that's required for this unit. I've heard there's some issues with this regulator burning out, and I'm not 100% sure of the quality of this. I don't plan on using this in a 1S craft anyway, because those tend to be a lot lighter, and this weighs about 10 grams and would be just too heavy for practical use in something like a 1S brushed quad. So I don't plan on using this in my testing, but I've heard that this does have some issues, so you should be aware of that. If you want to use this with a 1S craft, then I would recommend maybe trying a Pololo instead for stepping up your 1S to 5 volts. This is all the documentation you get with the MC02. Goes over the dip switches. I'll cover that in a second here. This is the other side. These are your specifications. I think, yeah, well, I think I forgot to mention that one of the more important features or improvements of the MC02 is that it has a switchable power from 25 to 200 milliwatts, whereas the old one was only 25 milliwatts. So for those of you that are going to be using this on airplanes, which I'm going to be using this on my Bushwhacker, having the 200 milliwatts does give you more range, and you can fly further away without fear of losing your video signal. Just like everything else, it's NTSC PAL switchable. It's got 900 TVL line, should be high resolution camera, and it's got 40 bands of FPV channels available to you, so it's got everything. Okay, so let's look at these buttons here. The one on the left here turns the transmitter on and off. So if you hold it for 2 seconds, it turns it on and off, and if you hold it for 5 seconds, it'll switch the power from 25 milliwatts to 200 milliwatts and back. And this LED here, when it's on, it'll be 200 milliwatts, and it's off is 25 milliwatts. You got a set of dip switches here, and these are the functions for these. So you could flip and mirror your image. So if you wanted to mount the camera, say, sideways for whatever weird reason, you could do that. I plan on mounting it the traditional upright way, so probably not going to be using that. The third switch here is for switching from NTSC and PAL, and the fourth dip switch is for, probably, it says audio, so it probably means turning the audio on or off for the microphone. The button here on the top right is for your bands and frequencies, so holding it for 1 second changes your frequency, and holding it for 2 seconds changes your bands. And the chart here talks about your pin, the different pinouts for the different cables here for these, which I already talked about. So let me get this plugged in, and let's take a look what the video looks like, and also the field of view. Okay, I got this powered on, and I got a video signal going to my FPV monitor there, and I want to show you guys a little clarification on what some of these LEDs do, because the documentation provided here is a little confusing. So you see here we've got let me get this into focus. Okay, so we see here that there's an LED here that is indicating whether the transmitter is on or off, so it's currently on since we have video. And then there's another little dot here that indicates, I think, the power setting. So right now that dot is on, so we're broadcasting at 200 milliwatts. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change that to 25 milliwatts by holding down this button for 5 seconds. And you see that the little light turns off, so we're still broadcasting, we still have video, but I think we're at 25 milliwatts now. And if we hold this button down for 2 seconds, it actually turns the transmitter on and off. So hold it down, let go, and you can see now the video is turned off, and the LED is on. You can see there's a little bit of a glow there, but it's not as bright. it's been dimmed, and that's an indication that the video transmitter is not on anymore, as you can see in the video. And then the button here on the right is functioning as expected. Clicking it will change your channels, and holding it down for a little bit longer changes your bands. So you can see the numbers changing. I'm cycling through the channels on this band, and we're back to broadcasting. So I'm gonna see what the field of view is like here, and it's hard to tell just from looking at the screen through the camera. I'm estimating the field of view is probably 120 degrees, perhaps a bit more. Not quite fish-eyed. I would say the horizontal field of view is about 120. The vertical is a little bit less, maybe 100. It's not quite as wide on the vertical compared to the horizontal. And it does look like it's in focus. It doesn't look as good through the camera as it is in person on the screen. The colors are a little bit dark. The brightness is a little bit low. So we'll have to see how this performs in low light conditions, say a cloudy day. We'll take it out on a different day and see what the video is like. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and mount this to my bushwhacker, and we'll go ahead and take it for a fly, get some flight footage for you, and you can get an idea what the video looks like in flying conditions.